Okay, so my favorite quotation that I've selected is from chapter 56.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end, for me it's page 21. For others, it's probably towards the end. So
Chapter.
this is during when Lady Catherine visited Eliza, and she came to the house to
Mm-hmm.
have a conversation with her. So during that
Sorry, Ranjini.
conversation,
Chapter what?
56,
56.
5 6.
Okay, cool.
Yes. So this is the conversation between Elizabeth and Lady Catherine.
Okay.
So she said,
Towards the end.
yeah, probably.
I actually really love this part. So yeah, go ahead. Which part specifically?
All right. So they were having this conversation, and Elizabeth says that I have said no such thing. I
No.
am only resolved.
Contextualize. You see, when you are doing an analysis like this, you must always begin by saying what's happening in this episode or in this scene, what's happening, who
Okay.
is Lady Catherine talking to, what's the situation,
Okay.
and then go into the specific
Okay.
text that you want to focus on.
Okay. So Lady Catherine is talking to Elizabeth. She came all the way from, can't remember the place. What's the place?
Anybody wants to help
I
out?
can't exactly remember now. Wait. She came to Elizabeth's house to really talk about whether she has any connection or thing going on between her and Mr. Darcy, and trying to convince Elizabeth that it won't work out. She's not suitable for him. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So she comes to Longbourn to visit Elizabeth.
Yes.
Yes. And her intention is to convince
convince. Yeah.
to convince her not to see Darcy or not to be with Darcy.
Correct. And then she gave like very insulting reasons to
Can
point
you
out the things that makes Elizabeth not suitable for Mr. Darcy.
right? Is there an evidence that shows her intention was to break the relationship up or to discourage Elizabeth from seeing Darcy? Do we have any evidence for that?
Okay, yes. Let me pick that up. So during this conversation, we get a glimpse of what's exactly going on. Lady Catherine said, but I'm opening. Give me a second.
Just a second, huh? Let me mute everyone else. All and then pin. Okay, but then Ranjini, can you speak? It's clever, isn't it? No. Ranjini, can you unmute yourself? You can't. Oh, okay, you can. All right, cool. Okay, go
Yes,
ahead.
Dr. Unmuting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So this is one of my favorite chapter because there's conversations that I really like, and then I chose pick this one. But let me go back to chapter. Give me a second. So she came from Rosings.
Okay. What did you like about this conversation?
For me, the things that stood out to me was in probably 19th century, 1920s. And then at that time, the society,
Sorry,
the social
1920s?
norms of it was very patriarchal. Girls don't really speak out that much.
Right.
But then what stood out to me was the way that Eliza talked back to Lady Catherine, where she mentioned the thing that she mentioned was
I missed that. The thing that she mentioned was?
Sorry, doctor, since I'm using my phone's like need to go back, tag back and everything.
Oh, I
Sorry.
see. Okay. So
Okay,
Pride
so
and
she
Prejudice
says,
was published in 1797. Okay,
yes, very
so
early. Uh-huh.
we're looking at this is an 18th century, late 18th century novel. All right. So you were saying something about how women in the late 18th century, they don't speak up.
Yep.
Yeah. But um, but the lady is Lady Catherine is also a lady, but she gets to speak up. How is that?
Because she has a better position, she's revered as the can I say it like a matriarch in that kind of society?
Okay, so number one, she's a matriarch. In order to say that, you need to justify. You have to find evidence later to show that she is a matriarch, and I agree with you, she is. But what else gives her the upper hand to be able to speak freely and be very condescending and critical towards Elizabeth?
Because of the social economic standing.
Good. Her class. So there's the social hierarchy happening here. You know, her class, her social status, her economic independence. All this gives her the upper hand, even though she's a lady or she's a woman. But you're right.
Mm.
In this society, women are not given that much freedom to voice their thoughts, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so and in order to strengthen that argument, you will need to find reference, a sociological historical reference that shows this is how women were treated in the late 18th century. Okay,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
so tell me about this page. Sorry, this chapter, this bit, the conversation. What did you want us to focus on?
All right. So during the conversation, I
Mhm.
think Lady Catherine was forcing forcing Elizabeth to say that she will not uh, have any relationship with Mr. Darcy or something like that. And then
Mm,
Elizabeth will retort back by saying that she won't say that stuff because this is the exact thing that I'm gonna quote. I
mm,
have said no such thing. I am only resolved to act in that manner, which will, in my opinion, constitute my happiness without reference to you or to any person so wholly unconnected with me. Yeah.
mm,
So this is the exact quotation which I really like because it shows kind of moving from the norm of moving the norm of what's normal in that kind of society where she talks back and then she tells a matriarch that she will not listen to anyone else because she is wholly unconnected to her.
mm.
She's standing up for herself, which is like in that kind of 1920th century is very brave, I would say.
Right.
Yeah. And also there's another conversation where she mentions that he is a gentleman, I am a gentleman's daughter, so far we are equal. So she's
Right.
saying that just because of a social standing or because she's poor,
Mm.
that doesn't mean that she's of less favorable position. So
Right.
she says that as long so what I'm a gentleman's daughter, so we are equal. So I really like that part as well.
Mm.
Yeah. She declares herself to be equal to Mr. Darcy, who's like social I mean economic wise is very high compared to Elizabeth. But she's saying that no, we are equal no matter what. Yeah.
Mm. Anything else?
Uh I think yeah, that's all.
How do you like Lady Catherine? What's your what's your
Mm,
what's your opinion about her?
okay, I would say that she's a very condescending, like very serious character, but I wouldn't really find fault because she has this very sick daughter that I think she's really looking forward to marrying her off to Mr. Darcy.
Right.
So I understand from where she's coming from because she's worried probably because if there's like no Mr. Darcy, and
Mm.
then because it seems that they already been betrothed since they were young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I kind of get where she's coming from, although it's not not the right thing to do, but as a mother, I understand her sentiments.
Right. Right. Okay, cool. Can I ask if there are anyone else who will also be focusing either on this chapter or this conversation? Is there anybody else who looked at this this section as well?
No, Doctor. I
No.
will be looking at the much later chapters.
Okay. Sarah?
No, I'm like at the earlier chapter.
Okay, cool. But I want to draw your attention, all of you. Is everybody with us? Huda, Ali, are you all okay? Huda and Ali, are you all following the conversation?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, brilliant. Huda, okay, yeah? I want to draw your attention to this particular quotation, also in this chapter. When she says, "In marrying your nephew, I should not consider myself as quitting that sphere. He is a gentleman and I am a gentleman's daughter. So far we are equal." That bit that Ranjini read just now. Can you all find that? If you've got, okay, mine is chapter 56, about 2.5 pages towards the end of the chapter. So if you look at chapter 56 and take 2 pages from the back of chapter 56, this paragraph will be around 2.5 pages before the end of the chapter. Can you find that? Are y'all folks following us so far?
Maybe the number of chapters is changed. I
No.
can't find another number of chapters.
No, the page may be different, but the chapter is the same.
I think the number of chapters, Miss.
How many chapters have you got in your collection?
Me?
Yes.
62, I think.
Yeah, 61, sorry. It should be 61. So this is chapter 56.
Yes, Doctor, 61.
Okay, so find chapter 56. It would be about 3 pages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 pages into the chapter. So look for the paragraph that starts with, "In marrying your nephew, I should not consider myself as quitting the sphere. He is a gentleman. I am a gentleman's daughter. So far, we are equal."
Yes, Doctor. I found.
Everyone,
yes,
everyone found it?
And marrying your nephew, I should not consider myself. That one?
Yes, that one. Everybody okay?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay. Now let's read the next line. Right. That bit is the more juicy bit, if you like. This is what Lady Catherine says. "True, you are a gentleman's daughter, but who was your mother? Who are your uncles and aunts? Do not imagine me ignorant of their condition." What is the unsaid? What is the silence in this excerpt? What is I want you to infer from this particular line, what is exactly the issue that Lady Catherine is highlighting here? The father is a gentleman. Sorry, Huda?
Social class and her mother.
Yes.
She's condemned her mother behavior.
Not so much the father's position as a gentleman. A gentleman means somebody from a good class, from a higher class, from a good family and all that. So Lady Catherine and her social upbringing and expectations wants Darcy to marry into a family that has good reputation all around, not just the father, but also the mother, and more so the uncles and the aunts. So this kind of a concept, when we think about marriage, when we think about this issue of marriage, can you see the whiteboard now?
Yes.
Can? Yeah, cool. So when we think about marriage, what's your idea of marriage? How would you define marriage? Whether you're married or not, but what's your definition of marriage?
It's like having a companionship.
Companionship. So you are looking at marriage as between two people.
Yep.
Correct?
Yeah.
Respect. Respect.
A small society.
Ali, go on.
Yeah,
Continue.
to consist on a small society.
So Ali, your definition will include not just the individuals, but also others. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So look at Lady Catherine's definition of marriage, of possibilities of marriage. It's the connection not just of two people,
Yes.
but also the guy marrying into the family, the girl marrying into this other family. So it's almost like the marriage of two families. And the family doesn't just stop at mom, dad, and the siblings. It's the extended family, the uncles, the aunts,
Yes.
you know. So their condition and this is an important theme throughout the novel as well, especially with regards to what Lydia did, running away with a man, and how that affects the condition, quote unquote, condition of the family. That means if one of the family members does something bad and embarrasses the family, that family has lost reputation in the eyes of that society, making it difficult for the other daughters in the family to marry well.
Sorry, doctor, not even the family itself, maybe all the related of this family. If something happened wrong with this family,
Yes.
if in some society and some countries, maybe
Yes.
this contain also all the relates with this family.
Right. So
Yeah.
so when I say this, can you relate in your own cultural context, Malaysia or Iraq? Can you relate this statement to your own context? Is this applicable in your own respective context?
Some families,
Yeah.
yes, we have something like that.
Right. So the reason I'm focusing on this is because if you are interested to pick up this particular theme, if you are interested to pick up on this particular theme, right, of looking at marriage as not just the coming together of two individuals, but looking at marriage as the coming together of two families, or in Ali's words, the coming together of two small communities or societies or even tribes, or do you know what I mean? So that is a theme that you can use to read this particular novel. That would be a very uniquely your interpretation, your reader's interpretation of reading Pride and Prejudice. Are you okay so far?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So you read the text. You will read the text, you know, for the 18th century, late 18th century, early 19th century interpretation of marriage. Okay, the definition of marriage. All right. But you are also bringing in your own understanding from the 21st century, and more so from your context, Malaysia or Iraq or anywhere else. Okay, so far?
Okay.
Yes,
All
doctor.
right. All right. So Ranjini, anything else you want to add?
I know that's all, doctor.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you. So I'm going to switch that one off.